morning and happy Thursday. Welcome to New Streaming Network, home of Going Solo, Going Bold, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. Welcome to Your Health Vibes with Elana. I'm your host, Elana. Oh my gosh, of Your Health Vibes with Elana. And my journey is to raise your heart, body, and soul vibes to the next level so you can transform your life today. And today, our topic is unexpected friends with the one, the only Morris. Welcome back. I am so excited for you to be back here with me today. Can you please tell the world a little bit about why I'm having you on here and why I love you so much?
Thank you so much, Elena. My name is Morris. I am a musician. I'm a drill sergeant in the Army Reserves. I also do some leadership coaching, training, and development on the side. I love talking about friendship. I think friendship is essential for this life. So any aspect of friendship that we can talk about, I'm willing to discuss. Glad to be here.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you're back. We had an amazing podcast last week and just wanted to continue more of our wonderful conversation here. And just if you didn't catch our podcast last week, I just want to kind of let you know how we kind of unexpected friends how we came about. So Morris and I are both on a Facebook community page called it's like podcast or something like that. And he put out a little like memo saying, hey, does anybody want to do a podcast on friends? And, I was like, oh my gosh, I love friends. I love talking and why not? So I reached out to Morris and instantly we hit it off. And this is why it's so amazing because it's something so unexpected. Two people, two different worlds coming together and creating magic. So I love stories, as you know, and I love talking, as you know. But Morris, could you maybe tell us a couple, or we could go into some stories or talking about unexpected friends, maybe one of your unexpected friends stories for me?
Absolutely. I want to preface that a lot of friends are unexpected. We run across people all the time that maybe didn't feel like you're going to have a relationship with. But in these instances, I think that we're going to discuss, they're really significant. Almost you would never meet if anything did not go how it went, you wouldn't have connected. And that's one of the stories that I definitely want to share with the audience. When I was at the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy, I was totally out of my element as an Army bandsman. I was joining the rest of the Army. Army band kind of feels like its own world in some ways. We're all musicians. We do Army stuff, of course, but our main mission is to perform. So I went to the Drill Sergeant Academy in 2023, and I was kind of shy and quiet, and really I was thinking I'm going to study and just do my best to come out on top and with the most knowledge. So I really wasn't trying to go there and make friends.
You shy and quiet? What?
I can be, especially around an environment like that. I really did not want to get out there. Plus, being the Army bandsman, once people found out, they were like, oh, this guy, all the stereotypes, this guy's weak, nerdy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I'm ducking around and I'm like, I just want to stay quiet and get it done. That's not what happened. Of course.
Dun, dun, dun.
I found myself in a game of Dungeons and Dragons that I started, of course. So I guess that's not really being quiet and shy and reserved. But with this game, it brought a couple of different people together, mainly people from my class. I didn't advertise it outside of my class because we have a class of 20 to 25, and then there's a platoon size, which is like 120.
Oh, wow.
So my class of 20 to 25, I found 4 guys that wanted to play D&D. We were going to meet on a Saturday, and 2 other guys from the platoon came in one at a time. Both of them were our unexpected friends in a sense that I would have never met them if we didn't play Dungeons and Dragons at the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy. I'm super glad that we did.
Yeah.
And honestly, I got close with both of them, but one of them would become my best friend. And this guy is totally the opposite of me. He's like a hardcore, strong infantry guy, and he's physically fit, right? He's like super into health and fitness, and I just didn't know that there would be a bond there. So over the month that we played D&D, we ended up getting really tight. And outside of that, of course, they're active duty. I'm in the reserve. So I come back here to California and they go off to their respective states. So he ended up moving to Georgia to be a drill sergeant at Fort Benning.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if we were going to keep contact, of course, because these guys go to trainings like this all the time where you meet people and then people disappear, right?
Yeah.
For me, I'm used to meeting people and we stay connected and bonded. So I just wasn't sure. But what ends up happening is I go out there to Fort Benning to visit, and we just find the best of connections. And I'm so thankful that we could meet at the Drill Sergeant Academy in that 2-month period and get as close as we did, because seriously, I call him my best friend. I don't know how life would be right now if he weren't in my life.
Oh, I love that. And do you mind giving him, what is your best friend's name?
Oh, Ashton Foster. Yeah.
Yeah, Foster?
Ashton Foster. Foster's his last name. Yep. Ashton.
Well, that's going to be my new last name.
No kidding.
I'm my husband to Foster. So, dun, maybe we'll be cousins.
Could be.
My long lost cousin could be your best friend now.
One of the biggest lessons I think I learned from forming that bond is you don't know just because somebody's different than you, or just because they seem like they're in a completely different world, mm-hmm. There's still the power of friendship and connection that can go way deeper than just the surface level that we see when we first meet people.
I totally agree with that, because I think sometimes we show up and we don't feel comfortable. So we don't know how to be vulnerable. So we're kind of putting on that act. But you and I had talked last week about being so authentic, showing up and being, like, it is a little scary. I'm putting myself out there. What pushed you to get out of your comfort zone? What pushed you a little bit more to continue that and not let fear ride, oh no, are we going to be friends? And, what made that push a little bit more stronger for you to want to have that?
I think leaving the academy, I understood, I cared about him. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see how his life turned out. I was invested, right? Not invested financially. There's nothing. There was no gain from it, of course, but I really just cared about him. And I reached out, and then he was reaching out too. So I, like, 1 week I would say hello and how's everything? And then he would actually reach out and do the same. And eventually we got to a point, I'm a coach, right? So he would ask me some coaching questions, which is really cool. And I would give him feedback or whatever I thought would help him. Mm-hmm. I ended up sending some birthday gifts. I sent a couple of birthday gifts to some of my Drill Sergeant Academy buddies as a surprise. So I had contacted his wife and said, hey, can I get the address? I'm going to send their surprise gifts. And she gave me the address.
I love that. And you know what? Isn't that one of your language love? You're really good about giving.
Yes. So maybe we can I love languages of love.
Yeah.
Number 2 is gift giving for me. So I gave him some fantastic gifts. Some of those were leadership and personal development. Mm-hmm. And he, of course, read them and was like, hey, so now what do I do? And I was giving him some more feedback. And I forgot to mention that right after the Drill Sergeant Academy, he sent me a message saying, hey, my wife is inviting you to come to Fort Benning to have dinner with us, right? So not to say that he doesn't, but he's saying she definitely wants you to come out. So, and I want you to come out. So come out. Yeah. And I told him, I was like, okay, one day we'll make this happen. I'll go by there and we'll have dinner together. Well, in the fall, finally, I was like, hey, what would that look like if I came out for a whole week? And he was like, I would love that. Yes. And we did. January of 2024, I went out there and spent a week, and we just found that I think we had way more in common. I already understood that we had values in
Mhm.
common, which I think is significant in any friendship. Values need to align,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of stuff for me that I felt like, am I sure
Mhm.
this guy's going to like what I bring to the table? I'm not no, I'm nowhere near as strong as he is, and I'm the army band guy. He's very into his career.
Right.
So I think going out there for that week and just seeing how much we bonded, and there was a moment of expressing like how much we loved and cared about each other, and the relationship just grew from there. I felt like family at that point, right? Because now I'm around his
Yeah.
wife and kids,
Yeah.
and I make a couple trips back. Like I went to go surprise him for his birthday in October, and then I was out with my parents, and so we met up with him and his parents. They happened to be in Fort Benning at the same time we were.
Oh, I
So,
love
or
that.
yeah, so we all went out to lunch together because we were on like a family trip. But just over the 2 years that we've known each other now, the bond is insane. It's crazy how deep a connection I found in him.
Mhm.
Even though when I first met him, I'll be honest, when I first met him, I was intimidated and I didn't think that there could be that type of bond.
Wow. Thank you for that. And maybe we can expand on that of, when we pick a friend or do, and then sometimes we get in the way. Our itty shitty bitty committee gets in and thinking, things like that. And, so maybe we can expand what I think sometimes we are the biggest factor of why we aren't in a friendship or certain things and like, or society, because sometimes you're like forced into something that you don't realize, So with this, how did you allow yourself to get out of the way to pursue that? It said you wouldn't have been friend or have you had these type of friendship always, or is it something more that you, at the older you got, were more important so that you were able to stand up for yourself, see where you're at, and push yourself a little bit forward?
I would say this friendship was very unique, but I think if I reflect on some of the friends that I made over these last couple of years,
Mhm.
I needed to grow into a certain person, not a
Mhm.
certain person because I am who I am, but I needed to grow.
Uh-huh.
Some things need to develop. And I think one thing that we overlook is there are a lot of strengths that we possess and that
Mhm.
we bring to the table.
Yep.
What we tend to think about first and primarily, I believe, are our insecurities.
Uh-huh.
And I think that was part of the problem for me is I led with insecurities. It was
Mhm.
every reason why I couldn't be a friend in that
Mhm.
case. I right, like I'm thinking about my behavior and
Mhm.
what I am in general, and not all of the strengths that I bring. So then, when I start to reflect on, wow, the part of the reason we bonded, and we talked about Strengths Finder in that last
Yes.
episode,
Yes.
I'm probably literally talking about those strengths. Part of the reason we bonded is because those were strengths that he saw in me maybe and said, I like this, I need
Yeah.
this. And the opposite might be true. I might
Yep.
have seen the same thing from him and gravitated toward those. But I want to say that because we present our insecurities first up here,
Yes.
we prevent ourselves from getting into relationships,
Mhm.
whether
100%.
they're platonic or romantic.
Yes.
We prevent ourselves from a lot of relationships. And if we get over those barriers, then on the other side of that, there's gold. You're literally digging yourself to gold if you can get over your insecurities and say, I want this person to be a friend or whatever it is, a friend, a close friend, a best friend. The insecurities that you possess about yourself, if you're telling yourself I'm weak, I'm shy, I'm dumb, I'm ugly, whatever it is that you're telling yourself,
Mhm.
those are barriers to excellent and tremendous friendship and even romantic relationships.
Yeah, 100% with that. And then when is your best friend's birthday in October?
October 24.
Okay, I'm the 11th, so I don't know if he's a Libra. So I was just gonna say you like the Libras.
Yeah. My mom was a Libra though.
Yes! Libras are the best. My dad's a Libra too. Now, with all that, we're talking about our insecurities. Is there any little gems or golden nuggets that you could maybe like tell someone, they're going through this and how to kind of get out of it? Is there anything that you've helped someone to, you're stuck in your head and, you're feeling this energy? How do you kind of get out that so you're not transmuting that energy to someone else or starting off on that way of that insecurity?
I think the more you know yourself, the more you're going to get over those insecurities.
Uh-huh.
Take those tests, take a disc test, take Myers-Briggs, take the 6 type of working genius, take Strengths Finder, take them all.
Yeah.
They all have different information that will really help you to grow. Self-awareness is key to fighting insecurities. When you understand what you bring to the table, you're less likely to present those insecurities in your head instead of thinking, well, I am not good at A, B, and C.
Yeah.
It's I am good at A, B, and C. And I'm going to show up with this and bring it to the table. When I took DISC, I got SC, right? Which is the peacemaker style. I'm a friendly team player, listener type guy, but also analytical and structured. So instead of thinking, oh, well, I'm not the opposite, which would be outgoing and administrative and things that the I and D style present,
Yeah.
I happily show up now as the SC peacemaker style and say, well, I am this. I'm going to bring this to the best of my ability. People love a good team player. They love people who can listen.
Mm-hmm.
People love my analytical brain. They say, hey, can you read this? Can you correct this? What do you think about this? People go after those qualities. And if I show up with those, people gravitate towards that because that's authenticity. And I know we hit that so hard
We can talk a
the
little bit
last
on that
episode.
if you want to reach a little bit more on being authentic.
So what I'm saying here is you take those tests, you read through them, and you understand how you relate to them, what's actually accurate in there. Sometimes they're completely accurate. Sometimes maybe your answers weren't as accurate as you could have been.
Mm-hmm.
But you read through them and you figure out how you're showing up and show up even more of that, because that to me is authenticity. I'm not going to say, well, I'm the super outgoing guy. When I get to the party, usually I'm quiet. Especially if I don't know anybody, I'm super quiet. I'm looking around. I'm careful.
Yeah.
And instead of me thinking that that's an insecurity, to me, it's I'm going to go to the party and I'm going to look out. I'll talk to people. And when people approach me, I'll talk to them and we'll have great conversation.
Yeah.
But I understand I'm not going to be the loud guy. I'm not going to be the center of attention. I probably won't be the first one out there dancing.
I would. I'll pull
You,
you out there with me.
which is beautiful because you need all types of people to make it work. Even the party, you need all types of people to make a
Yes.
party work.
Yes.
You
We're
you
all
need
the puzzle makers. Like you have a special piece of the puzzle. Like I don't want to come in and be like, I'm the puzzle maker. Here I am. Rawr. Like I want to hear more. Like you have this lane and you have this lane. And that's what
yes.
party together because we all have our special qualities where for me, I'm a talker, I'm a hugger, I'm going to come right in. I want to hug everyone. I want to get on the dance floor. I don't have to be wasted, but
Right.
I want to bring that type of energy, I'm the more welcomer, like the grandma who wants to hug everyone.
And instead of you saying, well, I'm going to turn that down because that's what the vibe is, it's I'm going to go in here and I'm going to be energetic and get everybody smiling and get everybody up on their feet. We need you to show up that way.
Right.
We don't all need to be you though.
No,
And
exactly. That's what makes it beautiful is like you can show up like that where, maybe I need to come to you like, hey Morris, I need to calm down a little bit. Or like it like your energy, like, just being around you, I feel very calm and comfortable, which is so beautiful. I love the energy that you give and show up for.
yes. So the more authentic you can be and the more you can have that self-awareness and show up with who you actually are, not with who you're trying to be, the more people are going to gravitate towards you and the less of the insecurities people are going to get from you. We all have weaknesses. So that's why I advocate for Strengths Finder, because we say, okay, well, here's my top 5 out of 34 strengths. And then if you unlock all 34 of them, you look at your bottom ones and say, well, here's the things that I'm not great at. And how do I navigate through these? Or how do I borrow these strengths from someone else? And I'll be honest with you, when I look at Ashton has a lot of qualities that I don't have. And vice versa.
Yeah,
We
that's also
were opposites on that. So when I think about if I need something, if I need a different perspective, his
Mhm.
perspective is usually totally different.
Yeah,
Even though we bring the same values,
right.
we have totally different perspectives and a totally different way to approach things.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we let societal pressures influence our insecurities a bit too, because we say, well, in this situation, uh, I'm best. It would be best if I could perform in this manner instead of still showing up with authenticity.
Yeah,
For example, when you're at work, when we're at a job, right? And let's say we have like a desk job, we
yes.
value people who are probably analytical, quiet, observant,
Mhm.
focused,
Yeah,
and we tend to value less those people who are more communicative and more direct because listen, the organized people are over here getting the structure and organization done, but those people are less communicative. They
yeah.
don't want to talk, they don't
No.
want to engage others. You need both. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to communicate here is stop looking at everybody else, stop looking at what society thinks is the best, and
Mhm.
look at what you show up with, what you have to bring to the table, and bring it every single time. That's authentic, that's consistent, so people know what they're going to get from you every time.
Yes.
And those insecurities will start to melt away because now you're focused on what you're actually good at, what your talents are, and
Mhm.
your strengths.
I love that you say that because we really truly need to kind of focus on ourselves. And I agree, society gets in the way, says like, oh, you shouldn't do it this way, you shouldn't do it that way, like show up in a certain way in your work environment, like don't go over the top, like don't overexpose, and it's like, no, I think so many times we're listening to everything else. So that is a block too, is what should, coulda, woulda. There's no shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's showing up authentically. So with that, have you ever had another experience? We talked about your best friend there in a work environment. Were you ever in a work environment where you thought to like, oh, like who is this person? Or, someone told you to be friends with someone, but you were apprehensive, but
Yeah,
you
my one of my other best friends, Chris, I'll just call him out on here too.
yeah, Chris, hello.
It's funny because my mom, when she was alive, she worked at the same place, and she and Chris were really good friends. And
Yeah.
she would tell me constantly, "Why aren't you friends with Chris? Chris is around your age. You guys would get along great." And I just couldn't get through to him. We worked in the same office, and our office space is really tiny, so it's not like we didn't see each other all the time. But Chris was very quiet, very to himself, wouldn't talk to me. For example, he was getting married. I had no clue. Was going to have a child. I had no clue. I'm finding these things out like at the very last minute, even though we worked together.
Yeah.
And when my mom passed, and this is what I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I think in my mind, Chris must not like Morris. Whatever Morris has going on, whatever it is about me, he does not like. So my mom passes away, and Chris comes up to me and he says, "I love you like I loved your mom. You are important to me. I'm so sorry that you're going through this." And we bonded over my mom's passing. He supported me like a really good friend. And finally, probably a year after she passed, I went to Chris's house to visit with him, his wife, and his kid. And we just we had such a good time. So now we kind of see each other every other week, and I'll go over there. And the kid, he's only 2 now, but he treats me like an uncle, right? He knows when
Oh,
I come over. Yeah.
so
And
special.
they love having me. Sometimes I have more conversation with Chris's wife. I just feel like part of the family there
As
as
you should.
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I really love to hear that because, exactly, like sometimes once again we get in our heads or someone's like facial expressions are like, I wasn't even thinking that. But in our head, it's like, but you looked at me like awkward or you didn't show up. But it's crazy what we think in our heads and then what actually can come out of it. So I thank you for that story. That's so beautiful. My parents posted, thanks, Deb and Rob. They said, so they wrote, such a fabulous topic, and friendships are so important. You take the good ones all your life, and that is what mom and I do. Mom and I have I can't even talk. Mom and I have been best friends for almost 48 years. It takes work, but boy, when it does, it's fantastic. Love. Yay.
Congratulations on the 48 years. That's really
Yes.
cool.
Yes. Thank you, mom and dad. My parents have always, I look at their friendships and their things, and they've really modeled such a beautiful thing. Like, I love their friends, so not only are their friends, like a lot of their friends are even coming to my wedding. And so, certain stuff like that, we see how people show up, and it's not like, oh, I have to be just like my parents, but it's a nice model. It's nice to see their connect. It's nice to see that my dad still has friends from, and mom from elementary school, and they're 72 years old. And to have that is so amazing. But showing, and what we've discussed, you have friends through all walks of life. You have friends that from the beginning to the end, or some like just met, or friends like, I don't know, I've told you, I feel like I've known you. Like there's like our pat or something. It just, the way that you showed it just was so comfortable, so warm, so welcoming, and so authentic, that I just, love your energy and what you put out there.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you. I love your energy too.
um, and with this, I think what is nice is so many times too, we're forced into a friendship. Growing up, or, things, be nice to this person, or you have to be friends with this person of that. And I think with that, that causes a lot of conflict, because when we're forced to do something, we can't show up authentically, because we can't really truly, I feel like, who we are. Have you ever been forced into, a friendship, or pushed, where it's just like doesn't feel as authentic, not necessarily unexpected, but society, it was like that forcefulness?
That's a good one.
I know.
I think my parents were both good about saying you choose your friends. Maybe there were a couple of times where I kind of remember in high school where my parents' friends, of course, wanted their children to be friends with my parents' children,
Yeah.
right? So naturally, they would introduce us. And I remember one, like we went to the same high school, and I ended up confronting her. I felt like she was part of the popular crowd.
Yeah.
I wasn't, or at least that's what I say. And then people correct me. I don't know. But I did not feel like part of the popular crowd. I was definitely, again, quiet, reserved, band nerd. And I felt like she didn't acknowledge me when we were at school. I would say hello,
Yeah.
and I felt like she would just kind of pass me by, and I actually confronted her about this. So again, forced friendship, because we went to high school together, and we
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have connected in school. But when I confronted her, she was like, "No, I would never intend to make you feel like that." And I wonder, this age me wonders if that was because of my insecurity. I'm already feeling like I'm not part of this in crowd. I'm not popular. And so she must just be ignoring me. And I don't know, maybe her head was in another space. Maybe she didn't see me. There's
Right.
there's other kids passing by. It's
Right.
loud, whatever. So I'm glad I did confront her, because she was like, I promise that's not what's happening here. I don't know why I'm missing you. And I think that after that, she made more of an effort to probably look out for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that forced friendships can be problematic, because they become your view of what friendship is,
Uh-huh. Yes.
especially earlier in life. The values that you have for friendship are determined by how successful those friendships are. So friendship is miserable for you, then you end up saying things like, I don't want friends, or I don't need friends.
Yes. Yeah, no. That's great. I love that, because, and you know what? I think too, like when you're younger and like the older self, like how you're going to show up. So that's so beautiful to say. Like, you know, I think too of different situations when I was younger, or things that I would take more personally. And was it that story that I was making, or was it really the true story of what was going on?
Right.
And being able to be vulnerable, which I love what you said, the fact that you were able to confront her, and that you were able to show up for yourself, because it doesn't feel good when we're it's like, oh, go out with this person because it's this person's brother, or like I joke, like in like how many of my mom's friends are certain people, like, oh, I want to hook you up with this one, and and it's just like, oh my gosh, like like it's just because it's their son, they expect like these unexpected expectations of something
Yes.
that can't
Yes.
authentically. And I think we talked about that too, is sometimes when we're in a friendship or we're doing stuff, we feel like, say you give a gift, a best way to receive that is we have such a hard time receiving. Thank you, Morris. I love the gift. Not next thing, what am I going to get him? Oh no, I owe him
I
something,
can't believe he did this
Yeah.
because now what am I going to do?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so maybe we could talk on that, when we're giving in these friendships and you wanting to receive, it's hard for someone to receive. Is it hard for you to receive? Because when you're such a giver like me, is it hard for you to receive, or the older you're getting, you're able to accept
I would say
compliments or gifts now?
Yeah, I would say the older I'm getting, the easier it's become, and the more I recognize it for what it actually is. I don't want to say I was bad at
Yeah.
it, but I think younger me probably had the expectation that if you're giving me a gift, I better turn around and get you something. And now my perspective on that is totally different because as I'm gifting, and honestly, watching how my mom behaved in gift giving,
Yeah.
I don't feel the necessity to reciprocate because I don't expect people to reciprocate. And honestly, I think that it lowers the value. If you turn around and you say, I'm gonna give you a gift because you gave me one, you just lowered the value of your gift because you didn't think of me like I thought of you. You didn't consider me like I considered you. I
Yeah.
thought of you from nothing.
Yes.
I walked by and I decided I wanted to get you something off the shelf, or I saw your birthday was coming up and I considered you. Well, you didn't consider me. You are considering me because now you have something for me. The value of your gift can no longer match mine. Is
Yeah.
that fair? It's harsh, but tru-
Yes. Yes.
truly, I think it's important. That's what I'm saying. Authenticity is important because don't show up for me by saying, "Oh, I'm going to reciprocate your gift."
Mhm.
Now you kind of mess that whole thing up. I'm
Right.
sure whatever you get me will be nice and I'll accept it and I'll say thank you and it will be special to me, but it's not going to be as special to me as if you showed up in your own way.
Yes, I love that because we all can show up, and I think I just heard, like, I went to this little woman's thing yesterday, and that's what she was talking about. Even like a compliment, someone says, "Hey, Morris, I love your shirt," like right away. So we feel you have to be like, "Hey, Elena, I love yours." Instead, you just say, "Thank you so much."
Yes.
It's so
It-
hard. So like that lesson to learn to just say thank you, because
yes.
what you said, it makes the compliment mean something. If I turned it back around, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, oh, I love your shirt too. And I have to do that. Like, it takes away your compliment.
Right. Right. And that's what we go back to. If you want to make these unexpected friends,
Yes.
then you have to show up as you.
Mhm.
People are going to gravitate towards the authentic you. People are going to like you when you show up and you're consistent. They know who they're getting. There's no falsehood. It's just raw you. I think people love the majority of people love you. You're
Yeah.
gonna have people, everyone, all of us have haters and people who
Yes.
don't really dig us, but people are going to come and they're going to love you because you are you. You
Right.
just have to get past your insecurities and your need to impress other people. We're not here to impress other people. I think we're here to love other people. So if you can show love in your authentic way, people will gravitate towards you.
Definitely. And my sister's online. Hi, Steffi.
Hi,
She's online.
Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you. So she says it allows you to be true to yourself. Yeah, my sister has really great advice. She's really just want to give her a little shout out and the support with everything, with the wedding and whatnot. And I kind of get a little built-in best friend, but we have our stuff too. But I just wanted to give my sister a shout out to her. I love you, sister. Thank you for all that you do. And yay, Vicky. Vicky, she says, all friendships are God's gift, old and new, that need to be treasured. Vicky is amazing. She is one of my favorite friends and most beautiful woman in my life. Our friendship is one of the best friendships, and so grateful that I could have ever asked for the best cheerleader. She watches all these podcasts, and just the way that we show up. We met because I taught at the YMCA and she was in my classes, and I started off as instructor, and now we're family. So
Nice. Thank
yeah.
you, Vicky.
Yeah,
And
Vicky, keep
I
sharing.
love what Vicky says. All friendships are God's gift. I definitely believe that. And I think that the Bible has a lot of friendships in the Bible to look at and to model after and to understand our own behavior in friendships.
Mhm.
I think if you are spiritual and you believe in the Bible, then I think it's important. Go in there and find stories of friendship in the Bible. Like they're good and they give you a good place to start from. If you're not sure how to behave in a friendship, go look at how those friendships went.
And also just like putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, what you said. I love you, sissy. Thank you. So with that, I think being vulnerable, like just even at a grocery store, I've made like close friends, like, just bumping into someone. I think putting ourselves out there sometimes when we think like, oh my gosh, why would this person want to talk to me? But just starting that conversation, or you're somewhere, in public, and you compliment just a random stranger. I think just randomly putting yourself out there differently than what we expect is also amazing, because then you can have those unexpected friendships.
Yes. If you go back to how I met Ashton, I met him playing Dungeons and Dragons. I kid you not, if I didn't stand up to my class, because my class, right, there were some tough guys in there, and as soon as I said Dungeons and Dragons, I knew I was going to catch heat. That half the class was like, nerd. I knew you played Dungeons and Dragons. Like, just they clowned me for it. But again, showing up with authenticity and not saying, well, I'm trying to look cool here, or I'm trying to put up a facade because I want these people to think that I'm a certain
Right.
way. It was, no, I play Dungeons and Dragons. And 4 people in my class at that time stood up and said, I want to play too. Can we play a game while we're here? If
Yes.
we didn't play that game, I don't think I would have met Ashton at all. I probably would have run into him, right? Because we were in the same platoon, but I don't think we would have gotten close or anything. So again, if you want these unexpected friends, you have to show up authentically. That means if you're a nerd, you're a nerd. It's fine. We love nerds. We love to
Right.
be nerds. If
Yes.
you're a musician and you play the oboe, great,
Yes,
it's
you
fine,
do.
right? And it's saying I don't have shame. I don't have insecurity around showing up as me.
Yeah, that's so beautiful to say that. And I think too, exactly, we find those friends and unexpected when you show up authentically, because sometimes I think too, it's that someone's coping mechanism. Someone's like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons, like, no, they actually want to play it. They actually want to do it, but they're going to project their shit onto you because they're uncomfortable to say it out loud. You say it out loud, you take that all on. You're like, fuck yeah, I play this. I do this. I'm showing up for this. If you don't like it, oh well. Bye, Felicia.
And
Bye.
some of those guys ended up right in that game room trying to act like they were going to play with us.
Exactly.
Right. So again, you show up as you.
Right. And that's what we need to do, and I love that you say it, because too, I think growing up and the older we get, we start to get rid of the shame. We start to get rid of like who we are. I show up like, I'm Elena, I'm a dancer, I'm a talker, I like in your face, I like bright colors. I may not be all your cup of tea, but this is how I am. And this is authentically how I'm going to continuously show up. Like, when I come to a party, I'm going to be bright, I'm going to be fun, and I'm going to be in your face. So
Yeah.
take it or leave it.
One of my other friends that I met, Dr. Kenesha Williams, I'm going to call her out too.
Yes.
I was at a Toastmasters meeting. It was the last Toastmasters meeting that we had in person before COVID hit. And she had reached out to the club saying, I'm interested in coming tonight. She emailed that same morning. She came to the meeting, and of course, I'm there. I'm getting everything ready, and I'm a perfectionist. So I'm making sure everything's tidy. But she comes in, I greet her, and I have her. She can see I'm busy, but I have her sit down, and I try to answer her questions while I'm getting the room set. We have a great meeting. Of course, it's organized and structured because that's what I like to do. And when we finished, I asked her if she had any questions, and she said because of how she was treated in the meeting, and she came in to me and saw who I was because I was showing up as me. She said, I invited you to my mastermind, which she did. She invited me to her mastermind, and I went to go check out her mastermind. It was a leadership and personal development one. That led to a deep connection as well with her. And she's the reason that I became a Maxwell leadership coach, because she said, I think that you should do this. It's going to be great for you. And now we talk regularly. We help each other with our businesses. And that, again, unexpected friendship. I don't know that she would have responded to me the same if I wasn't showing up as me.
Right. And you came in like scared or not wanting to be fully who you are, because sometimes we like dim who we are. We don't think, certain things. So I love that she got to see the amazing you for who you are.
And I didn't have to come in and be loud or
Right.
super excited. I was just
You.
calm, relaxed me. Welcome to our club. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm gonna sit you right here. Just more of the meeting like normal. I didn't have to exaggerate anything, and I wasn't totally shut down. Like I still wanted to connect with her because she was a guest of our club, and it
Yeah.
turned into a beautiful friendship.
Oh, I love that. So, Morris, we're going to wrap up in a little bit. Do you have any performances? Do you have any things that people can check you out with? Do you have any other little last nuggets or gems that you would like to share with the world? You will definitely be back on here because we are just killing it. And I just love talking about friends with you.
On my YouTube channel, Stories of Friendship, Elana is actually going to be featured next Wednesday at 8 a.m. So check out that episode. You can see how our first conversation together went. I have 7 performances of The Sound of Music. It's a
Yes.
professional stage production version of it in Rancho Cucamonga. You can just Google Sound of Music, Rancho Cucamonga. It'll pop right up and you can get tickets there. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm playing with the Millennial Choirs and Orchestra on May 8th, and that's at the Sagerstrom. There's going to be 2 performances of those, and if you Google that, you'll be able to buy tickets for. There's a 5 o'clock and an 8 o'clock p.m. performance as well. So those are my upcoming gigs. Thanks for letting me share those.
Yeah, no, I love to promote good people and energy. And if you guys have the time, go check Morris out. You won't regret it. So, just kind of wrapping everything up, I just want to say so grateful for you to be here. So grateful just to pursue, just learning more about you and everything that you have to shine in this beautiful world. So, thank you so much for being here. And thank you, everybody. My name is Elana with Your Health Vibes with Elana, and you can reach me at, let's take it back. We're with New Streaming, New Network, home of Going Solo, Going Bold, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. And just thank you for being here. You can reach me at ef11ca@gmail.com or yourhealthvibes.com. Thank you for being here. And is there anything else you'd like to say to the podcast world?
Go out there and make friends.
Yes. All right. Bye for now.